And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 10th edition of the Big Dice Panel. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have two of my good brothers here in the temple. We have our three-eyed master of Liquid Walk, good brother Joe.
You want to try that again? Hello, everyone.
Oh, I'm doing it in one take. We do it live. And making his debut in the monastery, the GM for TokuTableTop, the one and only good brother Dai.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on and braving time zone hell to do this.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm usually up during these times anyway. So it's perfectly fine. I'm very happy to be here.
Mm-hmm. So, given the subject matter, I think this is as good of a time as any to, as I often do in my interviews, open with humble beginnings, the origin story. But obviously, I got to do things a little bit differently for this. So, I'd like the three of us to go into our introduction to the greater end of Tokusatsu. Not just when we first saw, say Power Rangers, but the greater tapestry. No, when we first learned about the greater tapestry of Tokusatsu.
Okay, who goes first?
Well, who is on first?
Yes, they are.
But I'll go last. So how about we start with you, Joe?
Okay, so I am going to say that it was Power Rangers that introduced me to the greater Super Sentai universe. Well, Tokusatsu in general.
Mm-hmm.
But only because I was one of those kids who read the credits.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the ending credits, they have, for a brief moment, inspired by Jew Ranger. I mean, the full name's there. And I was always like, the heck is that? And this was around when the internet was quite young, so you couldn't really just sit down and Google something at the time. So kind of like let it sit in the back of my head, but eventually I was able to discover Super Sentai later, thanks to the lovely folks who no longer do the free subs called TV Nihon.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, my first Super Sentai series that I specifically watched was actually Geki Ranger, now that I think about it. And I saw that it had Ranger in the name. And I just started going, wait, is this connected to that? And then I started deep diving from there, and I'm like, oh, cool. All right, nice. What's this Common Rider thing? And then, downhill. All downhill.
Oh yeah, I can certainly get that. Dai, what about you?
Well, I'm from Southeast Asia, so Tokusatsu here has always been on TV. But earliest memory I can remember about Toku, I don't remember the age. I think it was like 5 or 6, I guess, when I just gained sentience, I suppose. My dad just got back from a business trip, and he brought back a couple of VHS tapes. And those VHS tapes were the first Kamen Rider shows, the first two episodes
Hmm.
of Ichigo. And I remember being traumatized by that first episode because of Kumotoko.
Hmm.
Um, and that really started my fear of spiders. But when Kamen Rider showed up, saved the day, I was like, "Oh man, this guy's fucking awesome!" And naturally through television, they would air Ultraman. I fucking love Ultraman. And Super Sentai. Well, actually, it wasn't Super Sentai that was on TV. Funny enough, it was Power Rangers that was on TV. I only got to know about Super Sentai through going through the stores and finding little DVDs, like in plastic cases, little plastic sleeves of like, Gao Ranger, Hurricane, and I started to watch those.
Yep.
But the Kamen Rider shows that I really got to watch, like to keep up with, was Deno, and um, for Super Sentai it was Shinkenja onwards. But I did have like a period where I did fall off from like Tokusatsu.
Hmm.
But Tokusatsu always seems to like call back to me. I have very strong feelings about the genre. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, as for myself, um, I grew up a Power Rangers kid, like a lot of folks did. Um, especially when it started airing after school. Uh,
Mm.
I I wasn't quite there for season one. I was there for the subsequent seasons though. Um, and my exposure to the greater side of it was already being a fan of kaiju movies since I was within walking distance to a rental store around that time. Uh, said rental store uh, ho- was what would later become known as Hollywood Video. Originally, it was called Tidal Wave, as I knew it. And yes, I hate the pun too. I have mentioned how cringeworthy the name is. Uh, and seeing imports through video stores, and even even getting import DVDs from certain FLGSs that I frequented, uh, which were usually in the we have no these are imports, we have no idea what they are, but if you want them you can buy them kind of thing, which was always a dice roll about what you'd end up getting. And eventually I when I was doing research on another project, I ended up stumbling upon some of the very early subs for TV Nihon. I think the one that I had stumbled upon, this was while I was doing watch parties using fan subs and Adult Swim and the like, since I was the one who had the more reliable net to even do any sailing the high seas,
Hmm.
was Fies. The
Mm.
for the first run they did with Fies, where they hadn't quite gotten down the fancy ass subtitling that they would become known for. And the rest was kind of history. I would dip in and out on occasion. Uh, by the time uh, by the time I rediscovered things with Blade, that I was all in. I was doing full on watch parties, um, which unfortunately some of those watch parties were with some of the bad Deno movies, like Cho Deno and the movie trilogy. Or whatever that weird ass Deno Kiva crossover with thing was. Even now,
He
I
who
look at
shall
that
be
like a fever
unnamed.
dream. And
To be fair, a lot of Deno's after stuff was generally a fever dream.
yeah, and after a while, the idea of um, mixing tabletop with tokusatsu did crop up. Uh, One of the earliest experiments with that was the Rider the Transformation campaign, which the, everyone who was involved with it enjoyed it. I I felt I could have done better, and the choice to use that system wasn't my choice. If in hindsight, I've always said I probably would have used a different system than what was given. Rider the Transformation was the system that was given to me to use, and I had just come off of getting shit canned by a different actual play group for not having on-camera experience, which, by the way, was never brought up as a prerequisite. If it was, I wouldn't have taken the job.
Mm.
And I got Steve Austin. I got fired over the phone.
Damn. Damn.
Uh, but and I don't hold any grudge. And I found out that the guy who was running that group got kicked out for being a bit of an asshole himself. So karma. But I definitely deserved to be fired at that time. I had no idea what I was doing. I hadn't quite gotten the idea of adjusting my playstyle for a stream versus when you're just playing offline. But I remember having to house rule whole swaths of mechanics to do what I wanted to do. The big one was, this is something we'll probably get to later. It was a Kamen Rider themed rule set that didn't have anything for utility forms. You know, something that's been standard since Black RX, and even more standard since Kuga.
True.
Form changes?
Yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
I've seen
Actually got
some.
a hand outside past W.
Yeah. W Double hadn't aired yet,
Mm.
or at the very least, I was the. And if I'm being honest, trying to do the mix and match setup in say Double or O's or Forze would have been an absolute nightmare for me as a designer at the time.
Yeah.
But the other, but after that, I had kind of expanded further and further, and going into seeing other tokusatsu tabletop. Obviously, being the main tabletop guy, I was the main guy who was brought in regarding doing it, and the rest was kind of history. And there was one game that actively managed to get me angry, but that's a story we'll get to in a bit. But Dai, what was your first introduction to ttRPGs?
Oof. Oof. I got into TTRPG post COVID. It was my friend Stargazer018. He wanted to do a Monster Hunter uh, D&D show, which is still actively running right now, and I'm still a part of it. But at the time, he's searching for one more guy. But never really thought much about D&D. I've never really gotten into it, and I just didn't get it. But because Stargazer is my homeboy, he's my best friend, I'm like, all right, bro. If you need someone, I'll fill in the spot. I'll give it a try. And first, it was like only up to like the first 10 episodes. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm slowly getting it. Because TTRPGs is one of those things where like you can, no matter how much you explain to a normal person who's never played it, they won't get it until they try it. Maybe for someone like me, it may require like a few more tries, but Stargazer has a really good way of just um, really making sure that the world feels alive, and there's so much NPCs, and there's lore that kind of ties towards like everyone, and I'm loving D&D because of Stargazer, and I saw the way that he kind of put a lot of his love in his game because he loves Monster Hunter, and I was like, maybe I could do the same thing for like Tokusatsu. Um, I really, it's one of those things where I've always been on and off about, but I love the overall myth, especially after reading Common Rider Spirits. I love that manga. It's one of my top three mangas ever, because it really showcased like the true essence of like the Showa era writers of that time, but they didn't have to like sell toys to children. Um, so I wanted to kind of make my own Common Rider thing, and that was almost coming up 3 years ago. I did my first campaign, which was short-lived, only 4 episodes, called Kunsho. But that was horrible. Not the players. The players were amazing. They were my people that I looked up to, and they were very gracious and willing to give me their time to play in my stupid fucking Common Rider session, right? So I really appreciated that, and I appreciate their patience to actually teach me the ropes through it all. But that was only 4 episodes short, and because things happen, and life be life, and I just kind of was like, man, I think I'll just give this shit up. I don't think there's a vibe for this or an interest. And then I was talking to one of my mates, Susano, A.N. Susano, and I got him into Common Rider, and he's never really been the type to like really enjoy like D&D, but he was curious about the fact that I did a Kamen Rider D&D, because he never thought of the two things kind of mixing together. So I recorded the first 4 episodes and I sent it to him. And by the fourth episode, he was like, "Bro, is there more?" I'm like, "Nah, bro, it's done. That's it." And I was like, "What do you mean that's it? It didn't finish." I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's just life." And just from hearing this his disappointment, it just kind of stirred something in me. And just like a couple of weeks after, I asked him like, "Hey, do you want to play like a comrade D&D session?" And he was like, "Fuck yeah." So I gathered another friend to do it, and I gathered one of the other players that was a part of the first campaign that I did, and that went on for 20 episodes, and I finished it. Um, and that was fantastic. And I did 2 other ones which was unfinished, unfortunately. And from there was like a little period because I finished one session. These two just didn't finish at all, and I was running out of ideas of like what can I do with like Common Rider shows. Um, and a good friend of mine, I reconnected. His name is Gemma Kido. And we reconnected, and I told him about Tokusatsu D&D, and he got interested. He gathered a couple of folks, and instead of doing Common Rider, we did a one shot. of Ultraman. Right, that was fun. It was really good fun. That lasted for 4 hours, and I tried to push in as much Ultra Myth in the short 4 hours. But they all had fun, and that again, that spark was in my brain again, and I was like, wait, there's like we could actually do like a Sentai thing here. And from there, a couple of weeks later, we did session 0 of Mythical Squadron Valor Rangers, and we did. So the first 10 episodes of Mythical Squadron Valor Rangers, there was only red, which at the time purple, and pink. And then episode 10, we got green. And then episode 15, we got yellow. And just overall, we just started the player rosters just started growing. We have another friend, Fran, who is a part of the session as well. He's the 6th, but he's not a ranger. He's the companion. But we're coming up to his arc. But at that point, we haven't even begun streaming yet. But I've still commissioned assets because I just like it to make it feel real for the players. So I already have the art for the civilian forms. I have the art for the ranger forms, and I just started commissioning random art because I just love the vision of it and of what we've been doing.
Oh yeah.
And then over time, it's like, man, every session we've done, we're just like, man, if only we streamed it, it would be so cool. And they just kept saying that, and I was like, yeah, I think I should do it. And so that's how TokuTableTop became a thing, and we did Valor Rangers weekly, and I was like, wait, I got another day free. Let's make another Kamen Rider show. So with that show became Higanbana, and I pulled players from the original group that I played with, that second campaign, and I put them in Higanbana, along with new players. But yeah, that's how it came to be.
Oh yeah.
Sorry if that was a bit long.
And when we were doing prep, I know you mentioned that King Oger was an influence on Valor Rangers. What were some of the touchstone influences on Higanbana?
The influences for Higanbana was Hibiki and Samurai Champloo. That was the vibe that I wanted, because I don't really want the writers to, in Kamen Rider Black, when he does the whole henshin, that's that little split second before he goes from human to rider. There's that thing in between, the monster. I want that. I want to showcase that more, because that kind of, Ishinomori has always kind of portrayed Rider as like, a tragic figure, a monster, in a way. And I really wanted to highlight that with Higanbana. With Valor Rangers, their whole thing is like, what is the meaning of bravery, right? Valor. With Higanbana, it's like, what does life mean to you? What is the meaning of life? And does the cost of life mean anything,
I'm guessing that's the reason why you use that particular flower, which is often associated with death.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that does provoke some interesting things, and obviously on my end, I've dabbled with it a few times. Sometime after that original campaign was finished and I wasn't able to do a follow-up, I did commission some art of the writer forms of that cast.
Yeah.
I only had 3 people. Virtue, Tempest,
which I think
and Lynn.
for writer stuff, it's 3 is good.
Yeah. And the same artist that I commissioned for that, I would later commission for a Kamen Rider themed take on my VTuber design, which
Cool.
I think turned out pretty well.
Oh yeah.
What was really astonishing was some of the more infamous memes on this channel have were born from that Kamen Rider campaign. The fact that one of the players, Mike Shell, who played Kamen Rider Tempest, kind of became the unintentional whipping boy. Not out of malice, but he just kept doing things that got him in trouble.
He just warranted it.
I think the first case was I made clear I wanted everybody to have some sort of unorthodox weapon. Because crazy ass weapons is a staple of Tokusatsu. And
Not wrong.
Absolutely.
he suggested a shield gun. You know, the idea of it being a big, like, Roman-style tower shield that had a hidden gun, so you can basically have a mobile emplacement.
Okay.
Second episode of the campaign, he starts throwing the shield and then calling it back like he's Captain America, and I have never let him forget it. That campaign is over a decade old, and I've told him I will never let that go.
Honore Decado!
And when I saw the shield gun in Elden Ring, I immediately sent that to him and said, "This is what you should have been doing years ago." And the whole time he was like, "Are you ever gonna let that go?" No. And it wouldn't be the last time. When sometime later when we did a Numenera campaign, his character Varric was trying to bang pretty much anything with legs. So I decided to flip it on his head and put him through a death by snoo snoo moment.
Damn.
I figured, all right, he's giving me a setup. Now I got to make the punchline. There was a big Amazonian woman as an NPC known as the Red Mother who needed a volunteer to let off some steam, and I knew he was immediately going to volunteer. So he did. And he was when they found him the next morning, he was at death's door. The spirit is willing, but the body is bruised.
Damn.
The room at the end looked like a complete mess. There wasn't a single thing in there that was broken. That wasn't broken.
Rolling through it.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, "Oh, he uttered the one phrase that you should never say in these kind of situations. How bad could it be?"
You know, true.
A tip from an old pro: never, ever, ever say that. You are asking to get fucked by the irony gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many times has somebody said, "Oh, this will be an easy roll," and then they botch it?
True.
But that's the fun.
The best part is it causes them mental anguish, and they can't blame me for it.
I mean, you did it. You did it.
And of course, in some of my IRL games, I am known for being creative when it comes to punishing dumb moves. Sometimes it involves having someone drink a bottle of bacon soda.
Oh gods.
Other times, the infamous pain glass. A shot glass designed to inflict pain. Because it is water, salt, sea salt, pepper, black pepper, about 4 different hot sauces, a little bit of da bomb, and ground up jalapeno seeds.
God damn.
I've only had to break it out 4 times. And 1 time is enough for someone to get the message.
You gotta keep doing it until they listen.
Well, the idea is make the punishment so much worse than the crime that nobody wants to think about trying it. It is a successor to a rule that I had whenever I would do GoldenEye night at my place or Tekken night, and somebody picked certain characters. You know, odd job. And or in like Tekken 3 if you picked Eddie. The rule was, oh, you can pick him, but after the set, everyone else who was involved punches you in the nuts.
He's
Look, if you're gonna give us pain during the match, we're gonna give you pain after the match. And
Fair enough.
like Joe,
Yeah.
you've played GoldenEye back in the N64, no doubt. You know how
I
how
did.
it is. You know exactly why I would go that far.
Proximity mines, my beloved.
Mm. Oh, I used to put proximity mines and just claymores at the top of ladders and shooters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give people a nasty surprise when they're going up the ladder. You know, imagine going up this long ladder for about half a minute, and then you see front toward enemy. But, and when it came to like Eddie and Tekken 3, well, Eddie was just busted.
Mm-hmm.
And I see Mario in the chat bringing up King as well. King is very great for extracting salt, especially if you get someone caught in those long grapple chains where they can't do anything about it.
True.
Just the sheer amount of anguish you end up extracting in those kind of situations.
just gotta be ready for it.
And sometimes even pros get caught in it. I've seen pros just smashing all the buttons, going, "Please stop! Let me get out of this and do something." Which, and I just laugh because, like, yeah, I get it. I've been there. there is especially in those roles, there is nothing you can do about it, and he's only gotten worse. But I had revived the rule when Smash Bros. Brawl came out, and specifically aimed it toward anybody playing Meta Knight.
Oh, I mean, Brawl? Yeah, fair.
Because, once again, if you're going to give us pain during the match, we are going to give you pain after the match.
Indeed, indeed.
But when it comes, I will admit, when it comes to Tokusatsu and Tabletop, and I'm guessing you guys had this brought up. There's always somebody who says, "Just use a superhero game, bro."
Funny enough, no. Well, we like the system. The system we are using is based off of it's Lumen Rider Core, which is entirely made for Kamen Rider ttRPG. But I've homebrewed it to fit more towards Sentai and a little bit of like 5e light question mark. Now, I just want to say, I've never really DM'd 5e, but I play in 5e. I've been playing in 5e for like 4 fucking years at this point. Still ongoing. But 5e as a system, I'm not really like keen on like adopting that whole thing.
You're better, as somebody who's worked with D&D in one form or another since he was 10, you're better off.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of been searching through. I know there's like Tokyo Heroes and Rider Conchu. That's out there, and I forgot the name. There's another Japanese RPG that's basically just Kamen Rider. But
if you're thinking, the one you're probably thinking of is Convictor Drive, and
that's the one.
I have covered it in the series that I do on Thursdays and Fridays called The Valley of the Judged. It's not a shameless plug if I'm plugging it on my own damn show.
Hey man, it's your show.
Yeah. But Convictor Drive, I have seen a lot of people looked at that as the Kamen Rider RPG, but in reality, it is only Kamen Rider insofar as like Phys. The guy behind it had cited Faiz and Iron Man as big inspirations for him,
Gotcha.
and it is very much leaning into. If you want to do a more fantasy-based writer or a more biological-based writer, Convictor Drive isn't. It's going to be a hurdle doing that. I'm not going to say you
Yeah.
can't. You're just going to have to put in the work.
Mm.
And I've seen a handful of others. There was you and Kuli's old Tokyo Heroes thing, which is it was cute for the time, but it is a little bare bones. Writer Konshu is nice, but that leans more into solo. Although
Mm.
Cave of Monsters, they're good. They are good guys. I've had Sam Cusick on in the show in the past.
Mm.
I know that there's some folk trying to translate that one Kamen Rider game that showed up at Comic Cat a few times, Masquerade style.
Hmm.
But
Mm.
as far as I know, that translation isn't finished, and I don't expect
Mm.
that to be finished until maybe the end of the year, if that.
Okay.
Uh,
When it comes to like systems, I think I definitely lean in more towards the role play side of things more, which is what I like about Lumen Rider Core, because it kind of simplifies combat a little bit. But I really like to hone in on just like the character interactions in between and like the suspense and trying to investigate and all that. That's what I'm really looking for.
Yeah.
With the Tokusatsu systems, like that's just little things for when we do a fight, you know. And quite honestly, when I started doing my campaigns, every episode of Kamen Rider had to have a fight. So every one of my episodes had to end off with a fight. You know what I mean? And I just didn't like doing that a lot. So now I just delegate to having like, you know, having full episodes being fights or full episodes just being RP. You know, maybe a mix of both. But I really just hone in on just telling the story of these characters more, rather than focusing on like, you know, what's the next fight. you
Yeah.
know?
Which is fair, and I do understand why some have taken the approach of and a lot of the ones I mentioned do lean into narrative quite a bit.
Mm.
But there are I find that I've seen plenty of people attempt to do Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, and there's one particular problem that they frequently end up coming up against. And I think this is the problem
Mm.
anyone's going to come against if they try and make their own system.
Mm.
Kamen Rider and Super Sentai have dipped their fingers into every conceivable genre out there over the
Very
last
true.
50 years.
Yeah.
And what it kind of reminds me of is a conundrum that happened with anime ttRPGs back in the 90s and early 2000s,
Mm.
where you had a lot of games like Besem or Big Eye Small Mouth or Open Versatile Anime or the like. There were a few others, and a lot of them really didn't last.
Mm.
But they were looking at anime as a genre.
Mm.
Now, with some of them, it's a little understandable because, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of info to work with. But over time, we see a shift towards games that are skewed to one particular genre or series or vibe. You know, an example would be a game like Bounty Head Bebop, which is, yes, very much channeling Cowboy Bebop, but also Outlaw Star, even having a feng shui magic rule set for it. But then I remember suggesting the game Magi Knights to you, which is definitely leaning into both Super Sentai and Maho Shoujo, but doing so in a way that has a very clear identity of what it wants to do, uh,
Mm.
and throws in elements from Madoka Magica and Persona 3 into the mix for its combined whole.
Mm.
And I think that's the deciding factor. If somebody wants to do a Tokusatsu RPG, they need to first pick a lane.
Yeah.
I don't. I've seen some attempts to try and do Super Sentai and Kamen Rider in the same system.
Mm.
They inevitably fall into their own weight.
Mm.
Just because those are two completely different vibes, and that's not even getting into the mecha.
Yeah, don't even mention about the mecha. Yeah.
Because just from a design perspective, you have the problem of, okay, they have one big combiner mecha. How is that going to be used so that everybody still has a way to influence things?
Right.
I mean, yeah, there were some series that gave everybody individual mechas, but they eventually combined. Looking at you, O Ranger.
Cock Ranger as well, a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and sometimes you have primary and secondary mechs as well, but
Mm.
the mythos is the individual mechs, whether they be animals or vehicles, and then combining that into one big mech. But that one big mech is still one character.
Yeah. One character for everyone to use.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like you can get away with that with, say, a ship, because you can have people take different roles.
Yeah.
But it's a little harder to do that with that. And I have a feeling from little I saw, I didn't see you even try to do a mech with Valor Rangers. I don't even think that was in the
No,
discussion.
so it's absolutely in the show, but they're kind of in a collecting quest for it. So I took inspirations from Gao Ranger, and all the orbs are separated. Once they got all of them, they'll bring all the spirits in. But they only have the souls of these creatures, not necessarily the body of it. So the setting is steampunk, so they're going to have to build it. Right. So they have the souls of the creatures, and they're going to imbue it in some machinery.
Yeah.
Because when I watched Ranger, or even Mighty Morphin, I was like, oh, these are like prehistoric, like dinosaurs. But like, if these are for like ancient times, why are they robots? How are they robots? And I was like, okay, I'll that's all something. So that's just my way of like kind of putting that in Valor Rangers. There's already two existing teams, the ones that, the original team that died centuries ago, and the new team that we're following right now, that are carrying on the will. Those guys didn't have mechas, but they have like large sacred beasts that fight along with them. They didn't combine. These are actual living, breathing creatures, but they fought alongside the Rangers. But in the future, things can change. They only have the soul, but they don't have the body.
And since I was able to find it, I may as well share with you the design that I had set up when I commissioned the art. Because Joe, I already showed you some of this. That was that collection of art that I showed a while back. And I won't be able to show it on stream, but I'll post it up on these socials at a later date. But Virtue's character, was a scientist who managed to combine technology with the the Chinese five elements.
Mm.
'Cause he said he wanted to do something Magitech like, and he brought up double as his reference point, so I put two and two together on that.
Mhm.
And the what I'm about to send is the original five forms. Think of it less like the five-pointed star and more like a four-pointed compass, with Earth being in the middle and the other elements surrounding it.
Cool. Ooh. Ooh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love these.
Mm-hmm.
These are so awesome.
So you can see.
The green one. What?
Yep. So respectively, they are Earth, which is basically the base form. That's the center of the star. Fire, which is meant to be more aggressive, hence the dual sabers. Metal, which is essentially the tank. So right up there with, say, Kiva, Doga, or Titan for Kuga. Water, which is meant to be the more flexible one. And yeah, I could have gone with a staff, but I had said to him, instead of a staff, what about a 3-section staff? And the last one you see there is wood.
Right. That's a cool ass design.
Yeah, there were two other forms: a kind of berserk form called Asura, and a final form called Nirvana.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, that's awesome.
I remember that the keyword I gave with Nirvana was being able to use the other weapons, but it's pure energy instead of a physical weapon. But the other one was Tempest, who originally, that was Mike Shell's character, and he wanted to do time, and I had said, instead of time, what about time-space? Because time had been done a fair amount of times, but the idea of manipulating space-time, making things be closer or farther than there's normally supposed to, was what I pitched.
Yeah.
So it may appear that he teleports, for instance, but he's actually not. He's just warping space.
Gotcha.
And the last one was Lin, who he wanted to do a bit of a throwback. I was rereading Kamen Rider Spirits, and I ended up thinking of Skull in that, which is a bit of a nice little nod to the originator of Kamen Rider, with the Skull Man.
Good old Skull Man.
The Skull Man is, technically speaking, the first anti-hero in comics. He beats out the Punisher by about a year. But I ended up finding a design for this weird ass small shotgun. I told him to use that, as well as he's very much a gearhead, but I had suggested to go to for the flame part, instead of using normal fire, go with a gas fire. And I just taken a photo of a lit gas stove and gave that as a reference. But and of course there was the there was the time that I had, and I had posted about it a while back. My my VTuber design in a rider-like approach at one point,
Mm.
which originally the one of the ideas was using a carbonation
You're fine.
was using like a dice like transformation gimmick, but
Okay.
but every time I kept trying to theory craft it, the design just didn't feel right in my head, so I didn't do it.
Mm.
Uh, and let's see, and it's here it is. Uh, there was an alternate color that was given, but I like the one that I got. Uh, that one there.
Ooh. Oh, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. And are we ever gonna see Monk Rider? Um, maybe in a year I'll make it into a I'll make it into a model, but that's not gonna happen for a
Mm.
long time. Uh, but
Yeah, them things cost.
mhm. the but I will I und- I realize that for a lot of the games that you attempt to do Common Writer with utility forms and the like, that's always going to be a tricky thing because you have to ask and answer the question, how do you do utility forms in a way that doesn't turn one character into an entire party by themselves?
Yeah. That's why my writers don't have different forms.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Now,
just the same guy.
yeah. Now, when it comes to upgrade forms and the like, that's fine. That's just natural progression. I've seen some that have tried to do a jack of all trades approach. The problem with that is the way people, and this has nothing to do with combat. The way people compose parties usually have everybody be good at something, but not step on other people's toes. Like if you're running, say, Shadowrun, one person is going to designate themselves as the hacker, and when that happens, the other people in the party are going to be less inclined to do hacking stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a criticism of the game itself. That's just human nature.
Yep, kind of like how when people are announcing their classes, there's usually like oh, I don't want to play what they're playing because I want to round out the party.
Yeah. A little bit tricky for that kind of. It would be a little bit tricky for that kind of mindset to show up in Legend Edition because, well, there are so many ways to accomplish a particular archetype.
Yeah. I
Uh,
feel like if you're gonna play a TTRPG and your writers do have utility forms, you can form switch at will, which changes you into an entirely different guy. I think the lower the party members is like a little bit more feasible, um, in that sense. Because if one person already has two forms,
mhm.
right? If you have two people, there's already like these two people can cover a whole team already.
Well,
I
look
mean,
at
that's usually the reason why writers don't number more than like 3, 4 at
Yeah,
max.
Mhm.
Looking
yeah.
at you, Blade.
Yep. Oh, that's also why I think uh, the way the way form switching happened had to shift. Now you because we have had some shows where you do have multiple forms, but it's not like everybody is stepping on everyone else's toes. There is still some degree of control over that.
Yeah.
Um, like Geats comes to mind instantly.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a smattering of forms all over the place, but a lot of them are glorified equipment.
Yeah.
Mhm. Pretty much.
Water.
I'd say Revice would probably also fit that bill as well.
True. Like each one was basically a weapon in of its own.
Mhm. Although, if someone were to ask me, would you try and do the mix and match forms that we see in double or O's in tabletop? I would say absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like the only way I could see myself doing something like that is, and if you're gonna do the form switching, this is probably the only way you could really do it, is a solo RPG, a game that is built as a solo RPG from the word go.
Like maybe. Okay, so hear me out. So you have the one person who's your designated writer. Maybe you can have two. Really all depends on what you're doing with it. But you could still have fun with a party if you're having people be the the Scoobies. You're having them be the support, the people who do things behind this. One person does the fighting. They do a lot of the social foo, uh, a lot of the maneuvering with everything else,
Oh yeah.
as well as occasionally being the sorry, your princess is in another castle kind of approach.
Mm-hmm. I think
Right.
that's all. I think that'd also be the approach you'd have to do with, say, Ultraman.
Well, I mean, yeah,
And
you can't really
yeah,
have
that's
the
the
Ultraman.
hardest part because, in an Ultraman show, usually it's just the one Ultraman. And when you're trying to set up a ttRPG, everyone wants to fucking be Ultraman, right?
Um,
So it's kind of
I
hard, right?
Yeah, I ended up attempting to address that when I did a Doctor Who campaign years ago.
Mm.
The approach I took was none of you are the Doctor, none of you are from Gallifrey, none of you have a TARDIS. You are all members of Torchwood.
Mm.
You are the members of Torchwood's brand new U.S. branch. You may have the backing of two governmental bodies, but you're the new kid, and
Mm.
every other clandestine organization hates you.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Hello there, Hydra. Thank you for the raid. Hope FF12 was treating you well, but hear me out. Ultraman using the Gumshoe engine.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Gumshoe? Whether it be through
Yeah. Me and
as
the Rangers, we played Fear Itself recently using the Gumshoe engine.
yeah. I will admit a bit of bias because the guy behind it has been in the temple in the past for the second edition of Trail of Cthulhu. But
Mm.
my personal favorite setting with Gumshoe is Night's Black Agents.
Mm.
Combining vampires with spy fiction.
Yeah.
But if someone said, okay, set up a Ultraman campaign, I would say, all right, none of you are playing as the Ultra itself, but you are helping it when it comes to the final phase of the Monster of the Week.
Mm.
I.e., nobody is the Ultra. What you are instead is members of organizations like Guts or Guys or the like.
Mm.
And investigating and figuring out how the monster works is the big focus.
Yeah. I think that'd be interesting. I'd take the Jonius approach, the Ultraman animation, but a little bit of like the YouTube side series as well, because as much as I love Ultraman, um, I really, really, really want to know more about what they're doing out there. You know, not in Japan, not on Earth. I want to see the Ultras actually like be elsewhere and actually be a part of this whole the Ultra Garrison, which is what I really liked about the Ultraman side series. So if I were to do another Ultraman thing, I would do like, everyone's part of the Ultra Garrison, but they're all small fry. No color timer, no nothing, but they build up upon it. And they grow and they get to meet other Ultras that are a part of the garrison. And they fly out to different missions and whatnot and disguise themselves as amongst the people, So that's how I would go for it, because I love the overall lore of Ultra.
Yeah, just so long as nobody drinks the stupid juice and brings Belial back again.
Belial is inevitable.
Look, the only time it makes sense to have Belial around for anything is if Zero is around.
Yeah, that's his rival. But yeah,
that is the guy who
Ultraman
has
can be tricky.
Yeah, it certainly can be. Cave of Monsters did a game called 3 Minutes.
Yeah, I have it.
Which
I haven't played it though.
I interviewed him for that a while back, and he had mentioned that he was specifically leaning towards Showa era Ultraman, and I think he brought up Leo as one of the influences.
Goated.
But I can certainly get that, and he does have that mix of Ultras and support group within it.
Yeah.
Though, I did talk about this with Joe the other day, but the Tokusatsu series that I think is the most ripe to use as a basis for ttRPGs is not Kamen Rider, it's not Super Sentai, it's not Metal Hero or Ryu Kendo, although Ryu Kendo would be a strong contender.
It would be.
No, I think the strongest contender is Garo.
Yep.
Because one of the big problems that you have that I mentioned earlier when it comes to doing say Kamen Rider or Super Sentai is we've had ones that are fantasy, we've had ones that are science fiction, we've had ones that are Magitech, we've had ones that are more esoteric. But we've basically run the gamut when it comes to different storytelling genres. Whereas Garo firmly has its feet planted in horror fantasy. And because of that, I think it would be a little bit easier to build around. Especially since you have a very clear set of rules on how certain things work. Like the whole 99 seconds rule.
Yeah. I feel like Super Sentai, like from my experience, I think running Super Sentai is the most versatile to actually make it happen. Because 50 years of history, each show being different. They've tapped into every genre, like you said. You can make whatever the fuck you want. There isn't really a whole lot of rules to really follow, but the fact that this is a team. But you can You can tell however many kind of stories with it.
Yeah.
You can have your team be friendly as fuck or always have an argument. My group always have arguments, right?
Mhm.
And I like it that way because they're not perfect.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
but sorry, continue.
background for characters is character blackmail for GMs,
Yep, yep, yep.
but
Mm-mm-mm.
I will. I will admit, I could see when it comes to that sort of thing. I'd say the only thing not to do from a design perspective is don't make the colors into classes. That was what happened with the Power Rangers RPG that Renegade made,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
I did a whole stream and a whole review on why that particular game pissed me off.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna rehash everything I said in it, but one of the big problems was, for as much as it claims to be the only book you need to run Power Rangers campaigns, the actual content clearly skews towards Season 1 Mighty Morphin.
I know of, and I do share your sentiment, because it does lock characters down to their colors. And for me, I kind of follow that rule, but only in terms of like character story, not mechanically. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They can be whatever color they
Yeah.
want. Yellow
There
in
there
our
are
current
certain
campaign is
there are certain personality types that skew towards certain colors for sure. But
Yeah.
even then, it's never been 100% consistent. Like
no,
the
it's always a little different.
the Power Rangers RPG tried to position Blues as the smart guy because it was assuming that any blue was going to be Billy.
Yeah.
Except
Right.
I'm not saying that a lot of Blues are dumb, but intelligence is not the personality trait. It's usually being that counterweight to the red. You know, building on the myth of the Ao Oni and the Aka Oni.
Mm.
I'm sorry, you keep on saying that, and the first person that comes to mind is No Sun.
Skill issue. Or like they had in that book Green as the loners because they're obviously trying to channel Tommy. But Green is usually the ideas guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had Deca Green and his infamous thinking pose, for instance.
Do we have to narrate about it each and every episode? Yes.
I'm not doing that.
By the way, just as a reminder, Jasmine is an Esper.
It isn't a stream unless one of my guests are causing me pain. But and I mentioned before we went live about that one idiot producer who thought yellow was a female color, which is why there wasn't a yellow character in Kyoryuger.
I mean, we had gold. It was fine.
The reasoning is stupid, though.
The reasoning is stupid,
Mhm.
mind you.
It's not only stupid, it doesn't even track.
Yeah.
As I said before we went live, there have been female yellows, but they're not common.
Mhm.
In fact, when I think of them,
Unless it's Power Rangers.
That was kind of like my take on it with
Mhm.
Valor Rangers. So, like I said, we're following the second generation, and we have red, we got blue, pink, green, and yellow.
Mhm.
Within the second generation, the original was actually a guy, but he soon passed and transferred his power to his fiance, who is a woman. So that was kind of my take on like Super Sentai, the first being a male, and then passing it on to like the next female. So it was that was my take on it.
Hmm. And
Reminded of Kyoryuger like 100 years after, where the second generation was like blue, purple, cyan, gray, and silver.
I'd imagine that was done because that was the suits that they could reasonably get prepared for a bunch of new actors.
Well, no, no, because it was the same actors pretending to be like their progeny.
Mm-mm.
The reason why they did it was because like only one of them was the uh proper color, and there was this entire we forgot what courage is, we forgot what brave is,
Mm.
and then it was weird, but it was still funny.
Yeah. Oh. And I'd say I think I know there's more of a focus on role playing than combat, as mentioned before. But the combat part is always going to be a tricky thing to make interesting because
Mm,
of the format. You know,
yeah.
with mooks and monsters of the week, and
Hmm.
unless it's one of those things where you need to keep recontextualizing, otherwise it's going to get stale very fast, especially when you've got one monster against a whole party.
Right. Which is why I really put emphasis on the role play to
Hmm.
kind of set up as to why these fights matter. I don't want random kaijins and their combatment to just pop up and just attack a random part of the city. I want each appearance of these guys to actually like have a stake or mean something, or at least like be an omen
Hmm.
to like the world. Even if the combat may be a bit easy, I still use that as like, hey, you know, they're here.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
it is a there's a particular trap that I've seen among some DMs where
mm,
they feel like they need to make encounters, whether it be combat or not, challenging,
mm,
and that's not your. From my perspective, that's not your job as a DM or a
yeah,
GM or whichever you want to call it.
mm,
Your job is to facilitate the narrative.
right, right.
And if that means a few easy combats, then so be it. Uh,
Mm,
and this was one of the reasons I had said earlier you were kind of better off not using D&D for either of these, because
mm,
D&D wants to assume that you have like, especially 5e wants to assume that you have um, 5 combat encounters per session.
right.
Um,
Nah, nah, no.
I don't know why it insists on that, but that was a thing in the design discussions.
Mm,
I'm not going to defend it. I'm just noting it.
yeah. I will say I like in my local community there is a D&D
Hmm.
group, but pretty much all they know is just doing combat stuff. Like from start to end, it's just like floors and floors of like dungeons. And they're okay with that and they're happy with that. And if that's what you get out of D&D, I mean, it's cool for you, but I need a narrative, I need some story.
Hmm. Which is what's funny to me is I would I would hear people argue till the cows come home that unlike 4e, 5e has more role playing mechanics.
Mm,
Which is too is too funny. If for no other reason where I'm like, I read through those same books. I didn't see it. I think
mm,
you may have homebrewed that, but that's a different story.
yeah.
But and when it when it comes to obviously one of the other hallmarks of something like Kamen Rider is bikes or some kind of vehicle, but
Yeah.
that's I'd say that's easier to pull off than say doing the mech question in Super Sentai.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, hey, like in Higambana, they're all it's around the 1700s, so they all got horses. But in Valor Rangers, they all they all carpool, one car.
yeah. Uh, I haven't drawn it yet, or had it drawn, but I did want. There is a part of me that wants to take the design that I showed you earlier, and have it riding a dire wolf. So
Mm.
basically a wolf the size of a warhorse.
Oh, cool.
Uh,
Why not?
yeah, and we had blades in that weird trike thing.
Mm.
Uh, and I do remember when I did Rider the Transformation, I did ask people to think about their vehicle of choice and not just say, "Oh, I'm just using a motorcycle." I'm like, "All right, what kind of motorcycle though?"
Yeah, that's why I always specify this like the model, like
Uh,
because there's all kinds of bikes, man. It's not just the one.
yeah, although one of my favorite designs when it came to motorcycles, unfortunately, only got used maybe twice during the Heisei era,
Mm.
and that was the Valkyrie Rune. I think it was only used in Hibiki and Kiva.
Mm.
Yeah,
You know,
I loved Kiva's bike so much.
because more often than not, the bike of choice is either a crotch rocket or it's
Or
a
a dirt
lean bike,
bike.
or it's a dirt bike.
Right. Which my favorite has always been the Cougar bike
Mhm.
or Agito. Those two have always been my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I love how sleek Cougar's bike is,
Mhm.
but I think with Agito, because of the fact that it's a sports bike and he's got to lean down to kind of ride. I don't know, it just sparks more of a common rider image in my brain.
Yeah. Though even though G3 has a reputation for getting his ass kicked, the idea of literally going with power armor like that for a rider is a concept I think has a lot of potential.
Yeah, yeah. Even though he does get his ass beat, I do really like G3.
Mhm.
The whole concept of like these are gods and monsters fighting amongst another, and G3 is like the human potential, albeit getting his ass beat, but still there's
Yeah.
potential.
I did hear that the Victory 1 system was then repurposing a Metal Hero suit, which makes it a funny in-joke if that's the case.
Yeah.
Uh,
Metal Heroes lives another day.
yeah, and now they're trying to have Metal Heroes as Sentai in all but name with Project Red.
Yeah, which Gavin Infinity is the first project of Project Red. They are saying that you know if you're a Toei Tokusatsu that isn't named Kamen Rider, there's a potential that you might come back. So, crossing my fingers and toes for Kikaida. I need my man's back.
Yeah, I know we had that movie come back, and then they brought the actor back for Kamen Rider
Scream.
Kikai.
Ah, yeah. Fuck.
Yep.
But there's personally speaking, how much of a dedicated ttRPG for Tokusatsu is needed is one of those things that's up in the air. Now I'm not saying use supers for it, but I think I think we're starting to reach the point where it really depends on what you're trying to do.
Mm.
And I do remember when you and I talked in preparation for this die that you had hinted that you were thinking of shifting systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that one of the ones you were thinking of was Fabula, and I had
Mm-hmm.
suggested Magi Knights,
Mm-hmm.
especially given one of its mini expansions that is built around other worlds. But when it came to what brought on the idea of fielding other systems for Valor Rangers instead of using Lumen Rider like you're currently doing?
Well, to be honest, the more you play, the more you DM, the more, eventually you'll just start to experiment, start to get better, and, want to try other things. And um, I'm starting to realize that the Lumen Rider Core, even the homebrew that I've made, isn't exactly what I'm wanting going forward. So rather than just, my sources, I made that shit up. I wanted to spend, this year just buying a couple of ttRPGs every paycheck, just checking out the system, and just, expand my horizons outside of what I already know. I'm not really looking at 5e, but after getting to play Fear Itself and Mothership, I was like, fuck, I really need to try other systems. So, yeah, still on the search, but down the line, I would absolutely love to, write or make my own. But that's something down the line. I have talked about it with rangers and writers. So, that may be a group project. So that'd be fun. I'm always down to collaborate with the players. I always leave things open for them to help me out and be a part of it.
Yeah, and there's obviously no short, since that particular setting that you described is leaning into steampunk. There's no shortage of games that can go for that. For something like Higanbana, if that ends up shifting, Kamigakuri might be an interesting one to look at.
Okay.
That, or I was gonna say Double Cross, but Double Cross is set a bit more contemporary. So it wouldn't be impossible to do, but there's gonna be some work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down to look into it.
And there's plenty of other options. So, and when it comes to looking at just steampunk, even that there's wide varieties to deal with.
Yeah.
Because not all steampunks are created equal. For every arcanum, you have something like Iron Kingdoms, which, and that's not even getting into stuff like Zephyr or Victoriana or the like, or stuff that I've covered in the past like Brass and Steel or Abney Park. And I bring that kind of thing up because I do style myself as a bit of a tailor. Not physically, of course. I'm not going to measure you for a suit. But in terms of looking at what somebody's looking for and seeing what in my library is the right call for it, there's, I suppose the case in point is, and Joe, I have to bring up because this was your idea. Uh, for the Thursday edition of Valley of the Judge, I asked Joe to pick a genre. The
Okay.
genre he picked was Weird West. I think, remind me, but I think you had said at the time was because we hadn't done a Western yet.
That and I hadn't seen many, if any, Western themed ttRPGs, specifically Strange West.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Okay.
and as my response was, all right, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna put a twist on it, and the resulting pick was Far West, which we'll be doing later this month.
Okay.
Far West is mixing the Wild West with wuxia.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. I suppose when I'm thinking of films that would fall within that particular combination, the main one that comes to mind is The Man with the Iron Fists.
Mm.
But there's been plenty of cowboy-esque wuxias, even if they're not set in the Old West.
Yeah.
Some of them have been sent to me by a good friend of the show, Brendan Davis, who is the writer of Wandering Heroes of Ogre Gate, and does a lot of reviews of wuxia movies.
Mm.
I know one of the ones he brought up was stuff like Duel for Gold or The 14 Amazons.
Mhm.
But there's always those kind of mixes, and yes, you could use a universalist thing like Savage Worlds, but the thing about universal style games is no matter what, you're gonna be putting in the work.
Mm.
And there was one attempt to doing Tokusatsu with Savage Worlds, but it has the problem of you can't really overhaul the core mechanics of Savage Worlds if you want to have that license.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can certainly work, but it is going to be tricky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I am curious if because one thing that we did see in a few Sentai, and I'm wondering if this is something you had considered, is the idea of upgrades being able to be passed around, or special equipment being able to be passed about.
Like in
Mm.
Shinkenger.
Well, I used to do that for my old campaign, but that got chaotic as fuck real quick. And so I put a hard cap on that, and I'm like, nope. If you want to switch weapons, if you want to swap, sure, but when it comes to like your little trinkets, no, 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 no. But with Valor Rangers, I kind of gave it the Kuga approach of like, pick up a weapon and it'll morph into like your Valor Ranger style weapon. And it'll happen for any of them. So, yeah, sharing trinkets, like, no, fuck no.
Yeah, and in that same vein, I'm going to assume that the idea of doing something like a battleizer was never in the cards.
I've really had thoughts about it. But I think it's just more of a natural progression. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to give them like something like, hey, you can turn this on and you'll get boosted like fucking crazy. I'd rather it be like just through all the battles you guys went through, you've obtained like a new form and it stays that way. You know,
Mhm.
I will make it like, if like as a flavor, I guess. If they get below a certain HP, they'll revert back to their old base form.
Mhm.
Once it hits zero, you're out of your form. But yeah, nah.
Yeah, and there's this is also why um even if it isn't a one-to-one, Convictor Drive might fit what you're asking for,
Mm,
since the full title is Convictor Drive Armored by Grief.
mm,
One of the key parts of how it works is the memory and the presence of some sort of traumatic incident. Um, this is also why the more I think
yeah,
about it, the more I realize I made the right call bringing up Magi Knights to you,
mm,
because the premise with that is that each player suffered some kind of near-death experience, but just before they were going to be killed, they end up meeting an outsider who's willing to give them a chance at life if they fight the horrors as a
mm,
Magi Knight.
yeah.
Now, is it a Faustian bargain? No, it can be. But that depends on how you want to take it. Um,
Mm,
and I have seen some look at the fact that it has the skeleton of 5e and think, oh, this is just a 5e variant. Nah, not really. Uh, it had. If it was, I wouldn't have sent it.
mm.
It
Much appreciated.
is. It has the skeleton, like the barest skeleton, but that's as far as it goes. You're
Mm.
not dealing with, say, you're not dealing with, say, spells per day. Thank God. I am.
Or concentration.
A while back, we
Sorry.
covered the Fantasy Star
You're fine.
TTRPG and had a bit of a heart palpitation moment over the fact that spells in a Fantasy Star TTRPG are still using concentration rules.
And even worse, it was a spell that was basically a class-specific feature because all of their features revolved around it.
Thank God
Sorry, I'll
we're
stop.
getting Photon System Overdrive. That is going to be a palate cleanser when that comes out.
Oh, I want to play that so bad.
Oh. And
Anyway,
I think one of the other things that certainly helps fit that is there with Magi Knights you have characters who even though they're protecting the main city that they're in, they are students of Frost Peak Academy. And having to manage civilian life with hero life can result in its own rules for burnout. Which I think fits right in with the whole roleplay emphasis you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would, when it comes to Higanbana, given there's a very what does it mean to be human kind of thing that you're going with, I am curious if some sort of berserk mode or berserk form had been considered.
Oh, one of the party members is an Oni. Bro's berserking all the time. So for Ichiro, he does have he does go berserk, but he's like a gentle Only if you're talking about like build hazard mode type of thing, it's absolutely in the cards.
Yeah,
But I
build
really have to.
hazard, metal cluster,
Right.
that sort of
It
thing.
just has to, like, I don't want to add it in just because other writer shows or other Sentai shows add it in. If I'm gonna add it in, it has to make sense. It
Hmm.
has to make sense to me, first and foremost. So, and if I can do that and give props and flowers to the Tokusatsu genre, that's even better, right?
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Uh, bit of a funny aside. When I was designing the setup for Rider, we had
Mm,
said we've had Rider kicks, we've had Rider punches, we've had Rider chops and
mm,
shooting. What about a knee?
mm. You know what? Very true. A rider knee,
Mm-hmm.
rider
Well, for
elbow,
that,
rider headbutt.
for for something like that, we must turn to the what was he called again? Uh, the devil of the Muay Thai world and turn him into into a common rider. Yes, we must
True.
make Apachai Hapachai a common rider.
Uh, I had it that I we had it that was Virtue's finish because
Hmm.
Mm,
his whole thing was having a hidden rope dart in his wrist.
mm.
Of course, of course.
So essentially a rope assisted flying knee.
Yeah.
Uh, because again, one thing that something I've tried to really emphasize at my tables is again that I know that there's a whole diatribe about um combat and role playing, but I think that you can integrate the two.
Mm,
And an easy way to do that is having people think about why their combat style works the way that it does.
mm.
Uh, the touchstone that I have used for that kind of thing is the different lightsaber forms in Star Wars.
Mm.
Okay.
Uh, like for example, Dooku using Form 2 a lot, which ties into his attitude as a pure fencer and a nobleman.
Mm.
Uh, and you look at characters in fighting games and their styles have some ties to their personalities. Some a little bit more so than others. Hi Akuma, how you doing? I hate you, but I don't hate you as much as Geese. Look, there are some
Listen,
bosses
we'll
that
throw
live
them
rent
both
free
off
in
a
my head.
building.
Geese is one of them.
We'll just toss them both off of a building. It'll be fine.
And then he'll just keep coming back for 20 years. But when when you were giving the initial pitch for both Valor Rangers and for Higanbana, was there thought given to adapting items and the like into trinkets?
What do you mean?
Because for years we've had some sort of transformation trinket
Mhm.
in various tokusatsu. I'm curious
Oh,
if
like, do they
that
have more? Do they have engine items?
yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Valor Rangers, they have rings and a double brace.
Mhm.
So the rings would be like how they would communicate, and it's how they would go into the Valor Sanctum, which is like this little pocket dimension there, little base, right?
Mhm.
But when danger calls and when the ring senses danger, a brace would appear, inspired by Power Ranger Zeo. and they would morph. With Higabana, it's more like traditional Ishinomori style belts. You know,
Mhm.
I can send you the images here. I have
Mhm.
never posted these on socials before, but that's also because I'm shit at using socials.
And
Fair enough.
I'm slightly less shit, but that's because I have to be.
You
But
gotta play the game, bro.
yeah. Oh, which now that the way you say you get the
Posting
way
it
you said that,
there.
I immediately thought of Omar from The Wire, who
I never saw The
There.
Wire.
okay, I see where you're going, and I definitely see the O Ranger slash Zeo um parallels.
Yeah. And I'm sending in the
Oh
belt.
yeah.
It's the rider belt.
Mm-mm. Uh, although when it comes to the Rider Belt and the monster thing you mentioned, out of
Mhm.
curiosity, did you see the Black Sun series?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
One of our players, I watched one of our players. We really enjoyed Black Sun. I believe that Black Sun is just Kamen Rider Black in name only, just a name. But it's a whole other series. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it, I,
that's a
I
show for
think it
sure.
did a better job of the dual era thing than Kiva did. Probably
Yeah,
because they were
yeah,
able to have a budget to actually get old clothes, which doing period pieces is a lot more expensive than people think.
true,
Yep.
true. Those clothes aren't readily available. They got to be custom,
Well, not just old clothes, but old cars, old
right?
tech, making a set look like it was from that era.
Right.
Because the past part of Black Sun takes place in I think the 70s.
Yeah, the show era.
Mm-mm. Yeah, so smack dab right in the middle of the Showa era.
Yeah.
Oh, and the, and get and of course the further back you go, the harder it is to do that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not impossible, and there are collectors and preservers and whole teams dedicated to this kind of thing, but
Hmm.
that doesn't mean it's easy or cheap.
Yeah, no, not
True.
at all.
True.
Though I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out in in the years that I've been experimenting with doing tokusatsu in tabletop, I've
Mhm.
discovered the wonderful, wonderful world of custom belt makers.
Oh man,
Yeah.
they're awesome.
Uh, 73 Nami especially, that guy is
Hmm.
a madman. With just some of the very creative uses of belts to make these hit
All the
bashes.
trinkets. Yeah.
Uh, some of them are fairly straightforward, and some of them are a little more creative. Uh, and of course, of course when Gotchard came out, he had to make an FMA joke about it because, look, if you're gonna have your writer be an alchemist,
Finished.
then you're opening yourself up to those kind of gags.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not
Uh,
wrong.
but but all that being said, um, since we have
Mhm.
it is kind of funny that we're doing this shortly after the smorgasbord of announcements during that 55th anniversary show, uh,
True.
as well as the big push to try and do more simulcasts with things like Zets,
Yeah.
which
Finally, it's in my country.
yeah, uh, it's replaying episodes of Zets is like half of Shout Factory's Twitch channel these days.
Yeah,
Uh,
they got that Toei money.
mhm. From though, from what I've heard, um, Shirakura, who used to be the fan base's big whipping boy, has been fighting his bosses to try and get more stuff international,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
Toei has been a repeat pain in trying to get that done. Um,
Mhm.
I think a big case in
Good. Keep
point
at it.
was do you remember that period of time where it seemed like they were doing subs of different Kamen Rider series, but it was just the first episode of like each one
Yeah, the
from the
first 2
Heisei,
episodes. Yeah,
just
it was
meanwhile,
something. It was something.
meanwhile, if there's anybody who's gotten that formula down right as far as international outreach, honestly, it's Subaraya.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure, like the whole time, because like like Super Red really made the push with
Mhm.
Ultraman Z. I'm sure Toei saw that shit and was kicking themselves. Or well, it's Toei. They don't really care. But I think pushing for the West is definitely like doing really well for Ultraman, and seeing that Kamen Rider is doing like a really hard push for it, I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what kind of projects they got, especially within the premium line and the anime line.
Mhm.
Please, oh, please, Toei, just make a fucking Kamen Rider Spirits anime, and you will have my life forever.
Oh,
I've been wanting that. I've been wanting the there is no God, there is no Buddha, but there is Kamen Rider line in anime. Give it to me.
I'm
Say it for the people in the back, man.
I will concur with that on one exception, on one asterisk, and that is that you have the right team.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
yes,
sure.
yes, absolutely.
So,
Got to get the right people for it.
like, if you can get, say, Madhouse or Wit Studio on it, that would be perfect.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
or who? I'm trying to think who did the animation for Futo PI.
Um,
Wasn't it Madhouse or Trigger?
It wasn't Trigger, although Trigger would be a nice get.
Get.
Studio Kai.
Yeah, Studio Kai did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'd
I enjoyed
imagine what helped is Riku Sanjo being as hands-on as he usually is.
Mm.
But I'd say if you can get one of those kind of studios, the type that should definitely be avoided would be, say, JC staff.
Mm.
Nothing against them, but this would be not in their weight class unless you want a repeat of what happened with One Punch Man.
One
It was the
Punch.
studio that did that Goku Loser Ranger.
I mean, sometimes they can get it right, but action-heavy anime is not their strongest suit.
Hmm. Star Pictures.
And I was going to say Studio 4C, but they mostly do movies these days. I think the last major thing I saw them in was the Berserk movie trilogy.
Mm.
But there, it is somewhat amusing that we're now at a state where becoming Kamen Rider has become a generational thing.
Yeah, if it's been lasting this long.
Not only
And
doing that, not only that, but the father and son also being spokespeople for Sega.
True. The daughter picking up the mantle as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty cool.
And there's a small part of me that jokes, they keep this up, they're going to start turning into a lucha family.
Shit, that's more than one royal family.
Anyway.
Joe's closer to the mark, but like you look at Lucha Libre, there's a lot of family ties.
Mm.
You know, a lot of people who's basically are billed as the son or grandson of particular names.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio Senior and all that.
Yeah, he obviously him being one of the biggest examples, but there's been plenty. I think, and even if they're not actually the son, but it's part of the story, like with Pentagon.
The kayfabe.
I love the kayfabe.
Oh yeah. But with that in mind, I think I'd say we've covered everything that we planned on covering, even if we got off the rails a bit. But this was a lot of fun, and if you're ever open to coming on for some of the constructions or even doing theory crafting on designing a Tokusatsu RPG, the door is always open, or just for shooting the breeze, or reminding everybody, fuck Hojo. You think you hate Hojo enough?
We don't
you
fuck
don't.
with that guy.
Hojo walks in the room, and then everybody pulls guns out. It's like, get the fuck out of get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
Oh.
But much appreciated. I'm always down for Tokusatsu stuff.
Yep.
And once again, thank you for reaching out and giving me a chance to, talk. Really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your channel.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I'm always down for Toku and talking.
Yep. And of course, a sincere thanks goes out to everyone who took the time out of their schedule to come onto the show and enjoy the madness. And there will be plenty more where that came from, as there always is here, on the open bar of the internet. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Goodbye.